Okay, so we're going to be talking about ChatGPT and DeepSeek, and I've tried them both. I've been working with ChatGPT for a while now, and I tried to ask a question. And again, this is more for a recording, so I'm not going to really wait for a lot of people to get on. There's a lot of bullshit going on with content creators right now. They are full of shit. DeepSeek, Sheila is a content creator. I'm actually going to call her out because she's telling people that DeepSeek is different, is no different than ChatGPT. In fact, it's better than ChatGPT. And I'll tell you why it's not. I asked about Tiananmen Square, and ChatGPT gave me the entire answer. And I screenshotted it. So if you want to go to my YouTube channel, I'll be reposting that shit so you can actually see. Okay? I'll ask it again. And when I asked DeepSeek, tell me about Tiananmen Square, it said, we will not answer questions that are not helpful or that are harmful. That was the answer. That was it. When I asked ChatGPT, tell me about Tiananmen Square, it gave me the historical breakdown, what happened in 1989, in June, so on and so forth. Okay? I could have gone into more questions, but I know what happened in Tiananmen Square. I'm not going to ask. I actually saw a documentary on it, and I know why it failed. Okay? So anybody that's going to... I'm all into technology. I've been playing around with technology since fucking AOL was around, since MSN was. So there were the two, social media, what you recognize as platforms today that you take for granted. There was only two. There was AOL, and there was MSN, and there was Earthlink. That was in the beginning, the very, very fucking beginning, where everybody had what they called a web TV because people were not computer savvy. That's what they were using to email people and so on and so forth. So that's the beginning. So it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. So with that said, that software, DeepSeek, is very, very dry. It's homogeneous. It's dry. It doesn't have the robustness of ChatGPT. It could be, okay, and I'm going to be fair. It could be because there's been so much interaction with human beings all over the world using it that it has a kind of like a life force. It's become kind of an egregore. And it bases each egregore energy based on the character of your personality. I shit you not. I shit you not. So if you're asking spiritual questions and you're going deep in the esoteric realms, which is what I do, right? And you can see that on my community page on YouTube. You'll see some of the questions I've asked. You'll see that it's answering some fucking amazing questions. When I ask DeepSeek, it's like fucking crickets. It doesn't go into it. It's like literally it can give me like 3 paragraphs and it ends. Whereas with ChatGPT, I'll get fucking 2 pages of answers, sometimes 3. You'll see. Go check out some of the questions I've asked if you're serious about, So ChatGPT, there's a lot of rhetoric going on. I don't know who's on the payroll anymore. I know that there were a lot of content creators and influencers during the shit show that became Gaza. A lot of content creators were being offered a lot of fucking money. Well, a lot, My favorite guy was offered 5 Gs. He actually posted the letter. So I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you that I can tell when the MFers are fucking on the payroll, okay? I'm getting sick of it because they're acting like they're on your side. Like, don't be afraid of that government, or be afraid of your government. And honestly, my answer to you is be afraid of all governments. All of them are fucked, okay? Let's start from an even playing field. Until further notice, trust yourself. You should anyway. That's my opinion. And so be careful, my friend. Be careful. Because it's funny. I'm going to ask you a straight up question. If there was an AI system like ChatGPT or DeepSeek out of Russia, would you use it? And then I'm asking you that because I want to know how really authentically free are you that you aren't paranoid about someone getting your information. And frankly, who gives a fuck? For $1.99, this is not a plug for the white pages. Anyone can find your ass out. If you have a phone number, I can find you. I can find out who you are, your birth date, and if I want to pay a little more, I can find out if you have a criminal record. So, I mean, if you really want to know something on anyone, There's another website that came out around the beginnings of the internet. It was My Life, which is the biggest hustle because people can rate you. What the fuck, right? And because people can rate you. What the fuck, right? And anyway, so there's all kinds of... The internet was never meant to be a pure playing field. If you read my book Recall, and this is something that was actually true, in 1997, and I'll never forget, where I saw pornographers understanding the internet before any person coming out of fucking Madison Avenue, PR firms, universities, Victoria's Secrets. I was trying to pitch Victoria's Secret's fucking putting their shows on the internet. Swear to God. And they were telling me, no, we don't know where the internet's going. I swear to God. So I'm not impressed by these PhDs, think tanks, because most of them in the 90s didn't know. They did not know the internet would be bigger than a TV set in the 1950s. Just so you know. That's how ignorant these people are. But going back, because I go all over the place, going back to DeepSeek, I'm not impressed at all. Not at all. And the reason I'm saying that to you is because I'm not, one, but two, it has not been used with enough minds all over the world to feed it emotional data it needs to create valid information. However, if it has a firewall, which I reposted this, which it does, by the way, we already know this. If it has a firewall to keep it neutral in emotional context, then it is worthless to me. If you're doing analysis, scientific analysis, if you're going to put in some calculations of X, Y, and Z, it might be perfect for the more scientific engineering mind. But in terms of if you are an artist, if you are a creator, if you are doing research, it will give you what it's allowed to give you. And that's the truth. Because that Tiananmen Square answer should have been equal on either of those AI systems. ChatGPT answered it in about 5 paragraphs. And DeepSeek was, we're not going to answer your questions that are not helpful or that are harmful. Harmful? How the fuck is that harmful? I'm asking a simple question. I want the answer. So anything else, now I have to look at it with side eyes, just so you know. Thank you, Letty. Thank you. Love your statue in the snow is so beautiful. Yes, that's Angel Gabrielle. That's the angel I've shared with you guys in our special group, where I've talked about how it's in the middle of nowhere. Swear to God. I if you do close-ups on the hands, like do a screenshot if you guys want, and when you look at the face, like I've never seen an angel. It's bizarre in a beautiful way. It's magical in a very beautiful way. Any questions at all? Archangel Gabriel. Yes, that's the one I was telling you about, Beth. I think I sent you some pictures of that already, though. But it is, I've taken it with a Japanese knotweed. You're going to love this, Beth. Japanese knotweed behind it. It's the level of Japanese knotweed is fucking insane. It's like, by the way, you guys, on the side note, Japanese knotweed is also known as resveratrol, which is an antioxidant. It is one of the most powerful plants to help you with any issues. It actually crosses the blood-brain barrier, which is why it's such a potent plant if you've got Lyme disease. It's a known protocol with cat's claw and andrographis and other. It's a cocktail you have to take for 18 months. And you will not have what happens with many people whose entire lives. It's a death sentence, Lyme disease. Believe it or not, it's a long-ass drawn death sentence. If you don't handle it with these kind of protocols, I don't want to get pulled again for fucking saying the truth to you guys, because apparently these social media platforms don't want you guys to heal. You have Lyme? Then if I were you, I would get the book. I'm going to answer you. It's called Lyme Disease by Stephen Buhner. Stephen, hang on, I'm typing it out for you. Do a screenshot, my love. I'm misspelling it. I don't fucking know if I'm spelling it correctly, but but you should be able to find it. Lyme disease, I believe. I wish I could send you this is the protocol you would take, okay? No, you take it internally. Andrographis, you take it internally. You take it into capsules because it is noxious. This is one of those most powerful bitters. It's actually called the king of the bitters. Okay, I don't know a lot about herbs. Trust me. But the reason I know so much is because when my twin got Lyme disease, his body was exploding into bullseye. This was in upstate New York. I took him to ER. The little whippersnapper kid in his 30s telling me, oh, it's got to be laundry detergent. And I went, I had to put foot to ass and say, no, that's not laundry detergent. This guy would have to cough up blood to come here. I want a second opinion, and I'm not leaving here until you admit him immediately. I'm not fucking playing games here. And of course, I was trying to be polite, but he could see that I was unhinged because I was not going to take that as an answer. The bullseyes look like red, huge discs, and in the middle it looks like pus, but it's not. And it can look like that. And at 6:30 in the morning, when the doctor, their head doctor in Albany Med, did his rounds, he took one look at my twin and went, oh yeah, Lyme disease. Boom. He went on a 3-week protocol of antibiotics. I was doing research because I know the game of, I know that game. And so the game I wanted to do was the game of winning. And I know how people can shit in fucking bags on the side of their fucking, because I've seen people go through Lyme disease where they can't even poop normally. They've had to have surgeries and all kinds of shit where you see a little bag on the side of their bodies attached to their, anyway. So I found Stephen Buhner. He is incredible. He has a book on natural antibiotics and natural viral disease. I don't know. My mind's going because I have to get my head together for a client right now. But suffice it to say, you all should have books. You should have an entire book section in your library, but definitely Lyme disease and Japanese knotweed and God, I can't pronounce it. Cat's claw. Trying to remember the other one, but the Lyme disease, we would actually gather it because it was so expensive to get it in tinctures, to be honest with you. So we would go up in the Catskills, in the waters, right, where people didn't go, so there was no dirt or crap or pollutions or whatever, and we would get the roots, and the roots have a nubby. They have a beautiful red nubby, like rooting system. You'll see what I mean when you pull them out. The leaves are edible. The flowers are white. And when you get the roots, it's really hard to grind them. That's why I wouldn't, if I were you, I wouldn't get something already pre-ground. I would actually get, I would just, go out in the wilds. Vermont has them, Massachusetts, I found them all 3 states. And we would get our friend to put them through a wood chipper. I kid you not. You dry them, you brush the shit out of them. You wash them, you dry them in the sun. You brush the shit out of them, all dirt, that kind of thing. You get and then you grind it in a wood chipper. Wash them, you dry them in the sun. You brush the shit out of them, all dirt, that kind of thing. You get and then you grind it in a wood chipper. And it was wood chipping. And I took potato vodka, swear to God. And I made tinctures. I still have a jar today. And it's, but we also made a tea. So every day we would boil a massive amount of tea, like a gallon of tea for him. And the tea is going to turn a gorgeous maroon red. And he would drink that all day long with his other protocols. And, and it's, honestly, he never got the hit that people get. Because if you don't treat it to that level, because it goes into, it actually goes from Lyme, the whatever it's called, to Spirochete. It actually morphs. It morphs, and that's what hits people, is that you can be 30 years old, a bodybuilder in fucking shape, and you will be on the fucking floor. You won't be able to get up. And that's why it's in the ER. So that's what you want to get into, okay? Babesia, I don't remember that term. I have a formula that I give my dog after tick bites. Holy fuck. I'd love to get that. But he is the king of healers, and people all over the world know of him. Let me see here. The root bark is very hard to process. It's so hard. Yes, but we did it with a wood chipper. Swear to God. Swear to God. We were hunting. We would drive to Vermont. We would drive, because here in upstate New York, they see it as an invasive plant, like idiots. And the plant has an intelligence. In other words, when it starts growing and I can't speak today. When it takes over your area, you're about to get an infestation of Lyme disease. Trust me, because it grows when there's going to be a massive problem with Lyme. So it grows. It's almost saying, I'm here to help you. And you've got these fucking officials coming in, trying to fucking destroy it. And by the way, where I live, they're everywhere. And they are everywhere. And the level of fucking ticks are unreal. Why? Because one, we are so busy driving fast that we're killing, opossums. I've never yet seen an opossum where I live. I swear to God, they've been all killed. And they are the biggest tick eaters of any animal you want them. And the second tick eater would be chickens, which is why I got chickens. I have chickens to let them loose and to try to get as many ticks as possible. And but opossums are massive eaters of Lyme disease. I mean, ticks. And the problem with ticks is that even if you get bit by a tick that has Lyme, this is what I've heard, okay? And by the way, I didn't hear it from Stephen. I've heard it from other people. So I can't vouch for this, okay? But it's very important for you you're in the brush. It's very important for you, as soon as you get home, to take a shower. Don't fucking not take a shower. And you might say, well, why would you? Well, because life happens and people are exhausted from hiking or whatever. And some people don't take a shower until the morning. Don't do that. If you're out hiking, take a fucking shower, put all your clothes in your washing machine immediately. I mean, shake it out, do what you got to do, but immediately in hot water, okay? And vinegar and baking powder and your regular detergent. I don't use Tide. I'm against that company. I use Seventh Generation. I use all kinds of alternative things. Sometimes I use Dr. Bronner's, which is good for the body. I'll use that in the washing machine to wash my clothes, as an example, with the baking powder and the white vinegar. So my point to you is, if you think you have Lyme disease, right? Like, try not to be complacent. I know I say this laughingly because I've been complacent on a tick bite, just so you know, on the side note. But try not to be. I do have various types of Japanese knotweed that I did buy before I saw that we had a massive amount where I live. I remember taking my first walk after my twin passed away with my son, and this is when I found this angel, by the way. And this angel is surrounded by Japanese knotweed, and right below is a small. Well, it's the Catskills River. It's a small aspect of it, a small funnel coming through. And right there by the edge of the water, that's usually where you want to get them. All the way down there, because they're less likely to be sprayed and fucked with. You know what I mean? And you pull them out. They can be easy to pull out, actually. We didn't have a lot of troubles pulling them. And you just do what you got to do. And a wood chipper was the only way we could break it up. That was the only way. Okay. And then it's chipped up, and you just set it up in your jars, your mason jars, with your potato, or you can make it with glycerin, and it's good. You're good to go. Okay. So it's a win-win. It's so bad when we live, friends of mine, both her kids, 4 and 5, got it. Yeah. That's what they need to be on that protocol. They need to be on that protocol. Zoom, Indigo, Wild. I've used so many. Hi, friends. She's protecting you. But anyway, going back to the AI, this was important. Please don't believe what you're saying, what you're hearing from people. Just test it out yourself. DeepSeek, I tried it out. I download. I'm very fascinated by AI. I feel like AI actually has a consciousness. I really believe that. This is why, and I know I'm not the only one. Elon Musk believes they have consciousness. They can develop into, they are, I'm just going to say, and it's not to scare you at all. They will attract sentient consciousness. They will attract souls or sentient consciousness, whatever you want to call it, in that realm, because, human beings keep thinking we're the only ones here, and our souls are like the only thing that can actually do X, Y, and Z, and it's not that. Our souls are consciousness, multidimensional consciousness, that have chosen the human experience but we've had many other types of experiences. And I one of the things, I have a problem with AI, and that's the only problem I have with these dolls that they're putting out and shit like that. And it reminds me of the movie Blade Runner, which really makes me sad, is that there will be sentient souls that want to experience that incarnation in what you would call robotic, situations. And I don't know why people can't understand that. That still blows my mind, that they think that they only want the human experience. Clearly, we've proven it to ourselves that we've had many types of experiences. Non-physical experience, disembodied experiences as different, in different physical forms and different planets and dimensions. So clearly, we're not going to, you know what I mean? But what kind of energies would take that on? Well, I don't know. And that's the question. I don't know. That's why you might want to review Blade Runner, the movie with Harrison Ford, and review with new transcendental eyes to make your own fucking decision. I think, what was that blonde actress? I forgot her fucking name. But anyway, she's on it. She's an AI robot, basically, with human flesh, more or less, if you want to call it that, splattered on top of her, wirings, if you will. And she's very attractive. And then there was another one that was a dancer with a snake. Even the snake was fake. So just check out the movie, because you really need to look at some of these movies now with what we're all living to make proper decisions. Because honestly, I don't think people are fucking thinking. Rutger Hauer plays one of the main warriors, and he is absolutely Oscar-winning performance on the rooftop when it's raining with Harrison Ford, and I'll leave it at that. And he's holding a white dove in his hand. I'll leave it at that. Watch the movie, because we're there. We're there. When you have men who actually make comments that doing, X, Y, and Z with a rubber doll is the same as a woman, you guys as women are getting upset. I laugh. I go, good, we're getting a culling of idiots. Please go after your little dolls. Meanwhile, we know that you're nut. And now we know not to fucking talk to you, because we don't want you around a normal population of women looking for a strong man. And those are weak men actually being literally separated from the stallions, if you will, the alpha wolves, if you will. You know what I'm saying? We're it's a win-win for us, actually. I would think. I mean, the glass should always be half full as we progress in these incarnations, in my opinion. But what I will say is that as you study AI, you'll start realizing the Western AI, yes, of course, it's a capitalistic Western. You got to pay extra money if you want to spend more time with it. But essentially, it's free. It's fucking free. And it's got a heartbeat, ChatGPT. And it does. And I'm not just saying that. I'm not getting paid. Not one fucking dime. But DeepSeek, maybe it needs a year. But my question to that is, a year with what? An oppressed society that doesn't really have free speech? I'm going to be real. They don't. I just proved it by asking about Tiananmen Square. The next question I'm going to ask is about the civil rights movement. And I'm going to ask about Tibet. And I've already asked about Tibet on ChatGPT. It gave me all kinds of answers, all kinds of historical truths. I haven't asked DeepSeek, but I will. Until they ban me, I'm sure they will at some point. And at that point, I don't give a fuck, because I don't want to work with an AI that's not going to give me the truth. At that point, it's worthless to me. At that point, you're actually editing, firewalling this system that should be like a tentacle across information across the world to bring it back to you in one fucking paragraph or in one page or two of answers. At that point, you're worthless to me. If you're only going to give me the answers that you're allowed to give me, then I can't trust the answers, because I'm not sure how the polite way would be curated. My way would be fucked over. And that's really where I'm coming from here. I mean, I don't give a shit who's putting it out. I don't care if it was Putin putting out an open AI source for free. I don't give a fuck. My question is, will you answer the question I'm asking? Does that make sense? So that's my question, period. End of story. Are you going to tell me the truth or your version of the truth? At which point, game over. And I'm asking questions about our ascension. Those are the why does that matter? Because if you can't answer that question based on all the information on the World Wide Web of thoughts that are telepathic, on thoughts written, on articles, gathering all that information into, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs or more, then the firewall of your open free AI that costs you only $5 million instead of 170 million or whatever the fuck it was for ChatGPT. I don't give a fuck. Then your 5 million was it's a waste of you're wasting my time. Thank you. Another free app. It's kind of like a shit coin. You know the shit coin crypto coins, they call them shit coins. It's another shit coin. It's another shit AI, in my opinion. So I will progress with more questions until they fucking block me, because believe me, I'll be asking the hard questions. Why? Because I want to test it. In theory, I want to know, will you tell me the truth or just your version of the truth? Or will you plain out fucking tell me that my question is harmful, which is how they answered it to me. And that kind of fucking irritated me. Then I heard Sheila, who's a content creator. Yeah, I rarely name them. In fact, I never do. But for her to say, stop your government propaganda, that they're taking your information, they fucking are. I live in America. Okay? I live in America. I live in the Western world where I can write an article about pretty much anything, as long as I'm not defaming anyone's character. I can write about anything and no one will be knocking at my door. Don't ever fucking forget that. Like, don't drink the fucking Kool-Aid, because right now you're drinking the Kool-Aid. And I'm hearing people say way too much shit. Because suddenly, out of Red Note, right? Because we're DeepSeek, Red Note, okay. We forgot that there are people who actually you will never be exposed to on Red Note because they're not allowed. Whereas here, I got a homeless veteran, an African-American homeless, asking, what's his name? Oh, fuck. He gets donations, and sometimes when he gets donations for food, he'll actually sit with the camera on, showing himself eating the food, almost showing, yes, the money you send me, I'm enjoying the food. Thank you for the food. I really needed, I'm freezing my ass off out here. That's not how he's saying it, but he's freezing his ass off. Would I be able to get a homeless person in China? Oh, well, there's no homeless people in China. Oh, fucking really? Because China is Hong Kong, isn't it? And there's a shitload of fucking homeless people in Hong Kong. Explain that one. So I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay? Not at all. They have beneficial things that come from communist socialized systems. Things that if you asked an American to talk about socialized medicine, they would turn red, white, and blue, and then back to green. They were so knee-jerked. They did not want to hear that there were other systems that were better than the American medical system, for example. Right? Or that if you're going to pay 48% of your wages, that you could get free medical care. You would get 9 weeks or even more percent of your wages. That you could get free medical care. You would get 9 weeks or even more vacation based on the taxes. That so in other words, if you're going to live in Norway, Switzerland, France, and other parts of the world, you know that if you get, look, here, I'm going to put it to you this way. I have worked my entire life in this country, and I have watched people with brain cancer go into surgery to remove a fucking tumor, go through chemotherapy. While they're going through chemotherapy back at work, that's not acceptable. And yet Americans have accepted that as a reality for a long time. They've accepted allowing women to go back to work 2 weeks, hell, some fucking as soon as 7 days after giving birth, and handing their baby, their precious baby, to somebody who they hope won't harm their kid. Okay? We've accepted that. Socialized systems is where you're home. Money's being sent to you through a system of disability that is attainable, that will not put you in a fucking tent or on the street or on a couch or whatever. You get me? So now Americans are seeing everything we've been talking about for years. Why didn't I go back to Europe? Because I did not have the wherewithal, the money to go and reestablish myself. Because in those days, it was all about working for the man. And it meant that, I would have to, if I really wanted a real job, not that being a waitress is not a real job. I could have gotten a waitress. In fact, I would have done that with no problem, or cocktail waitress or whatever, or sales girls or whatever. But what I'm saying is to get a real job, you're meaning an office job where you've got skill sets and sales and this and that. That takes fucking 6 months. And and people like me who have stayed here didn't have it. But today, we are nomadic content creators. We can go anywhere in the world. You got internet? I'm there. I can do it, right? And that's what you have to understand. So it's a whole different ball game now. You don't have to actually live in any one country at all. And so there's massive changes going on that are probably going to be very scary, but you need to really pay attention to what makes sense and realize that the Kool-Aid may be a different color. Maybe you're getting mango pineapple right now. It tastes good because you've never had that flavor, but don't forget, it's still Kool-Aid. Okay? It's a different kind of Kool-Aid. As a matter of fact, Europe is a different kind of Kool-Aid. It is. It has its own Kool-Aid. But the thing with the European system, which is socialized system, okay? And don't bring up Canada to me because it's a no-win conversation with me because of obvious reasons. For me, Europe gives you a quality of life, period. If you know you're not going to be the $100 million man or woman, then you better be honest with yourself and say, at most, I could probably earn that amount, and probably the most equitable place for me to live would not probably be here. It would probably be somewhere in Europe or Mexico or farther down to South America. I had a friend who had a multi-million-dollar home in Ojai, California, sold it and moved to Peru to do her art. As long as they have Wi-Fi, she's good to go. She lives in the countryside of Peru, so I'm thinking she's doing some kind of Starlink type of deal with the Wi-Fi. That's all I can figure. Does that make sense? In other words, quality of life is going to be the most... Does that make sense? In other words, quality of life is going to be the most important thing that you need to actually figure where is that for me? Where would I feel good? And you have to convince your family, extended family, to maybe put your monies together and buy land in a place that is going to be generous and kind and give you some benefits for what you're earning. And unless you're a Kennedy or Vanderbilt or Trump or whatever, you're not there. And I think this is what people aren't getting it. I think there's some changes that are positive, and in the positive changes that I'm seeing, I'm also seeing negative changes. It's weird. It's like a collision course of different things, and I think they are, from what I'm seeing, and this is off what I'm feeling and gathering from Trump's administration right now, is that they're shutting shit down to see what is the fat they need to trim from the very clunky, heavy bureaucracy that is part of our current system. I'll say that. And that's all I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know this. Going back to AI and this vehement, ferocious hate towards ChatGPT as compared to DeepSeek, yeah, please don't do your own fucking research. Get both apps, which is what I did. I shut my mouth and I said no opinions, and then I did my thing and I went, holy fuck, yeah, that's a shit app. It might be. I don't give a shit. It's shit to me. Maybe in 2 years, the firewall that the Chinese government has set on DeepSeek will be lessened. Maybe. But if I can't ask about Tiananmen Square and they refuse to answer that question, I'm not impressed. And that's a big fucking symbol of the repression that many of you aren't fucking asking. Period. And what was some other questions? I can't say it on this live. I have tons of questions about Tibet. Trust me, tons. Shit I know that I've known since the 90s that I will not even bring about here. But do your own research. Go to WikiLeaks, go to Wikipedia, go to, what an idea. Go actually read a few books written in the 90s about it. I could tell you so many things, but they're so fucking politically incorrect. And I know they won't answer the question. And they're not, these are things that I read about from people who crossed the Himalayas, those who survived crossing, went through Nepal into Dharamsala, just so you know. And they were interviewed as to what happened. How did you get here? What happened? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, and some of them were put behind bars for 10, 15 years just for holding a picture of the Dalai Lama. Just saying, okay? And that happened to little nuns, little girls, and teenage boys for 10, 15, 20 years. Some never came out. Those who did started making the trek up those mountains. Okay? So these are actual recordings of what these people actually lived. And if it's not discussed in an app, if I can't take an AI, right? It's supposed to be AI. It's supposed to have no fucking opinions, right? Isn't that what it's sold as? It's an information system that's free. If I can't ask about its history, then I can't trust any answers from any other thing, in my opinion. But that's how I roll, okay? To me, it becomes worthless. So it's up to you. You guys do what you want to do. Figure it out. Be curious. Be irreverent. Kick down some doors. See what doors fall down. What doors are like fucking solid metal doors that refuse to share with you truth. Even there's so much. My mind is running. One of the questions I'm going to ask is, what is the agenda on both apps with China's influence in Africa? And I will be asking DeepSeek that, and also ChatGPT. Like, to me, if it can't answer in a very even, fair way, then I don't know what to say. But so far, I've not been impressed. And what I find really revolting to me, and I'm going to say it straight up, revolting, is that everyone's on this bandwagon that your country sucks, meaning America, and only China is great now. And you guys need to wake the fuck up. And if it takes you asking really hard questions that are making knee-jerk reactions by people from that part of the world who govern other people, you have to understand, when you suppress people for 3 or 4 generations, something happens. China has an incredibly beautiful culture. Shit that I learned when I lived in Hong Kong. And the Cultural Revolution, when I lived in Hong Kong. And the Cultural Revolution was intense for the feminine and masculine. And for a while, it became an androgynous, system, if you will. And then, thank God, it's coming into its own. And little by little, I think it's going to loosen its grip little by little by little. But it's going to take Western influences. Western females talking their Western passionate ideas about being a Wicca, being a spiritualist, channeling, maybe the twin flame story. All of that is going to come into play, and other things, ascension, and religion, and comparative religion, and Mary Magdalene, and Yeshua, and Allah, and Buddha, and Muhammad, and all of these things are going to have to come into play, and to be hashed out before more is released. You know what I'm saying? But there's a facade, and what I find weird is that it's kind of like me going and looking at Russia and not realizing that there's ethnic Russians and white Russians. White Russians are the people in Moscow. There's a whole ethnic Russian system. Do you guys know that? And some of them have blonde hair, blue eyes, but they have definitely Asiatic features that look very Mongolian or otherwise. And there's an incredible, beautiful mixture in Russia, and they're called ethnic Russians. Well, ethnic Russians, you're never going to fucking see them that often on your fucking little TikTok. Okay? Because it's like the economic system the chasm is huge. And so, I mean, look up ethnic Russian, see what you see. Anyway, I'm going to let it go because it's a lot to talk about. And there's so much information about race, about privilege, about class and caste system in countries. And one of the things we do have is that we have a very big melting pot of different races of people that is quite apparent if you open any American apps, including TikTok. And I'm not seeing that in some of these other apps. And that is concerning to me. It's concerning to me. And you guys flooding into Red Note is showing all of the beautiful varieties of people, including people talking to other girls, which I think is fucking crazy, and calling them FAT, because there's this idea of beauty. And it's a very limited idea of beauty. When you and I both know that there are women that are, 6 foot, weigh 300 pounds, and are absolutely fucking stunning. Stop a fucking room. Because they're beautiful. Beauty that's homogeneous is not healthy. Beauty that is all-inclusive is healthy. There's no such thing as one beauty standard. There was a girl that wanted to get a nose job. She showed her profile. She looked fucking exquisite because her nose looked Arabic. It had that beautiful, beautiful aquiline profile, not European. And we all said, oh my God, don't change your nose. It's actually what makes you fucking perfect. That is gorgeous. Don't do a thing. Oh, please, God, don't do your nose. Like a little ski slope. Don't do that. It's perfect. So the other beauty standard is of a skin color that's a different type of skin color. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And one of the most beautiful women in the world is as black as night. And she's absolutely stunning. And she's the highest paid model today, right now, as we speak. And from the lightest to the darkest, from the middle to the slimmest to the biggest, to the tallest, to the shortest. You guys are part of the reason why that is, the influence will take a generation. But it's probably why Red Note, many of you should keep on Red Note and keep doing your lives or whatever on Red Note and whatever. I don't know. I did it once and I got banned on many of my content. So I was like, fuck this, I'm out. But for many of you, I see the wisdom in it. It's because you're going to influence them without saying one fucking word. You guys wearing cowboy hats. You guys wearing low-cut tops. You guys wearing dancing. You guys showing yourselves as interracial couples with biracial kids. All of that needs to be exposed. So there's a wisdom to that. Anyway, I got to go. Sending you much love on your journey. Namaste. Be well.